The Federation of Light. Crash and burn hello, my friends. It feels like an eternity since we've connected telepathically like this. I've been looking forward to today's conversations. Welcome, Blossom. Welcome, everyone. For us, time doesn't exist. So let's just say we're happy to be reconnecting with you once again, just as we always will be. What would you like to talk about? I was hoping you could tell me. There are so many things you choose not to talk about for security and protocol reasons. We've already discussed so much, so now the ball's in your court. Then we will bring you a piece of understanding that we believe can instill a sense of lightness within your being. That sounds wonderful. Go ahead. As many of you now know, there are few things that can truly send you down the drain, as you say. You have learned and understood that the only way is up. What once dragged you into a dark corner now slides off you like water off a duck's back, so to speak. It's not that you've become desensitized or numb. It's that you have realized that being pulled down by whatever may come to your awareness does not serve the whole. Therefore, through your attitude and your behavior, you are demonstrating just how much you have lightened up. Furthermore, we have come to understand that it does us no good to believe everything we see or hear. Some lies are blatantly obvious, others less so. That is why it's best to stay true to your own truth. The truth you know to be true. The truth that lies within you. The truth that allows your heart to feel joy. The only truth that resonates in every part of your being. Love is all that exists. Be that love. Be an example to all who enter your space. Is it not true that many, despite being wonderful human beings, are still completely unaware of the vastness of themselves and of the worlds and realms? What's the difference between a world and a realm? Worlds have more solid foundations for those who observe them. Realms, you could say, are more like vibrational spaces. Thank you. Why do some truly wonderful people choose to remain indifferent to otherworldly things? I recently met a lady who doesn't believe anything exists beyond planet Earth. A lovely person, yet doesn't she deserve a good lesson with a wet fish? Do you think that would work, Blossom? No. And yet, it might make me feel a whole lot better. It's all about choice. It may be that that particular soul needs to experience much more within its sleep state, as part of its journey. As frustrating as that may seem to those who are fully aware, there is actually no judgment to be made. Only acceptance of what is. The frustration might be showing you something you need to address within your own thoughts and your own journey. Awakenings for those who sleep, and for those who are awake, are offered to you as your own request. Meaning, nothing happens by accident. Indeed, isn't it easier now to recognize how you can bounce back from disappointment or sorrow? Doesn't that demonstrate your greater understanding compared to, say, a year ago? It's quite hard to always accept that negative things are presented to us for our own good. Sometimes my reaction isn't pleasant. And yet, sometimes I choose to laugh and move on. Sometimes without even laughing. We live in a truly crazy, 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 crazy world. Can we interrupt? Perhaps to remind you why you chose to reside in that very place, and the difference that choice is making. Well, yes. And yet, I don't think I'm the only one who wonders, on my less optimistic days, what if all this light, and the fact that we're winning etc. is just keeping us living in hope in a world that seems to have lost all hope? Well then, Blossom, is it hope that keeps you going, or is it awareness? Here's how I see it. Either way, whether I'm deluding myself or not, it's far better to live with trust in inner knowing than not to. There is too much evidence of love available to those who look for it. That, for me, is my knowing that greater things are about to happen. Remember, too, your programming. Thoughts like, what if? And if only, etc. do not come from your true self. This is not you. It's a program. So, how does this programming work? Surely you don't intentionally go to school to learn it. Programming is part of everything you see and hear. It is inherent in your DNA. It is within you, even before you come into the world. You carry it with you from past lives. You assume this is your true self, that this is what you are, compared to another. It is not. You are all the same. You are light. You are love. You are truth. Everything else is part of the story. What story is that? Let's see. Once upon a time, there was a garden. Programming. Once upon a time, beings emerged from the water onto dry land. Programming. Once upon a time, there was a monkey, and through evolution, they became humans. Programming. Once upon a time, beings from other worlds/planets inhabited the Earth and were full of light. Is that not a program? Is it true? You answer. In your truth. My truth says it makes more sense. Other stories say those beings who were here originally weren't very good. You see, how do we know what's what in anything? And we say, what does it matter? You are living the you that you are right now. What came before, what comes after is not written on the page you are creating at this very moment. We understand that. And yet, it would be really nice to know some things for sure. Some things resonate with me, so I consider them truth for me, but perhaps not for another. So, it's only my truth, not a universal truth. We have spoken of this before. Truths change. Understandings progress and merge into different understandings of something that was once so firmly believed to be the truth. We understand this is also difficult to grasp. Yes, Blossom and every wonderful soul who chooses to pay attention to these words. You are becoming aware that much of your world and how it is presented, in this time you call time, is not the truth. Therefore, it is a lie. It is a game. Many of you are so upset that we say this. And yet, when you no longer have your feet on the ground, when you have wings to fly, metaphorically speaking, you will be able to see it that way. I understand. But does that mean the reason for our existence, the reason for all the darkness and the struggles, the reason we are here to bring this planet back to the light it once was, and more, is part of this game? Oh, I already know what you're going to say. Unbelievable. Yes. We'll give you a moment to let that sink in. Only love light exists, in all its glory. And yet, in order for love to experience itself, it devised infinite games to play. In every game that ever was, is, and will be. The purpose is to find the love within it. Because love is always present. Love is all that exists. The rest is a program, a game to play. The goal is to know yourself in love, as love, no matter how a given game appears out there. Who knows, perhaps the game master is you. You're going to leave it there, aren't you? An excellent place to leave you, and let such suggestions settle within you. We love you. We know that. For that, we are grateful. With gratitude. In loving service. I am. Why you've been feeling intense emotions lately, and what it really means. In recent years, the world has experienced notable shifts in collective energy, mood, and emotional tone. Whenever the emotional climate of the population changes, empaths tend to feel it in unusual and intense ways. The real challenge, however, is understanding how these changes influence others' behavior and disrupt daily life. When a collective shift occurs, repressed emotions often rise to the surface. This can trigger conflict, anger, blaming one another, and a general sense of unease. If, as an empathetic person, you suddenly feel overwhelmed, anxious, angry, or as if you're under attack, with no clear personal cause, it could simply be the result of these energetic and psychological changes happening on a mass level. In these moments, you might feel detached, almost as if you're watching life from the outside. Conversations around you may seem predictable or mundane, and you might wonder why people keep repeating the same patterns or clinging to the same hamster wheels. You might feel like you're helplessly watching as others avoid facing their own truths, while anger and distraction seem to dominate everywhere. Many people are now facing their long-repressed issues, but they resist the process. Instead of acknowledging their own emotions, they may project them outward, onto politics, loved ones, or whatever target feels safest. This creates a destructive energy that builds up and becomes unbearable for sensitive people. Observing this chaos with detachment doesn't hurt, but it's easy to get caught up and absorb emotional energy that isn't ours. Because this destabilizing energy is so strong, the mind tries to make sense of it. Even when the emotions don't stem from our personal experiences, the mind searches its memory for something that matches that feeling. For example, if you had a painful disagreement with someone in the past, you might suddenly find yourself reliving those memories, even if you long since forgave them. If the mind can't find a matching memory, it might latch onto something else, a wrong done to a friend, a political issue you wouldn't normally care about, or a minor annoyance that suddenly feels enormous. As empaths, when we absorb strong emotional energy from others, we can easily believe it's our own. No matter how self-aware we are, these energies can still catch us off guard. How you might experience collective energy shifts. 1. Waking up irritated. A common experience is waking up, in the morning or in the middle of the night, feeling angry or obsessing over a past injustice that hadn't even crossed your mind before. These thoughts trigger emotional responses, and starting the day in a bad mood often attracts other negative experiences. 2. Skin eruption. Sores, spots, or itchy areas may appear suddenly without explanation. Intense emotional energy can alter the body's natural balance and manifest through the skin. 3. Stomach issues. Emotional turbulence often affects digestion, causing discomfort, bloating, acidity, or changes in bowel habits. You might also crave heavier or sweeter foods. 4. Disruptive thought patterns. Strong collective energy can trigger repetitive or intrusive thoughts, even in those who usually have a calm, steady mind. 5. Feeling under attack. Those who have avoided introspection may now find themselves confronting their unresolved issues. Instead of facing them, they may react aggressively, blame others, or project their inner turmoil. If you're on the receiving end of this behavior, the situation can feel grim, overwhelming, and destabilizing. What to do if the emotional energy isn't yours? You don't necessarily need to resolve it, unless it triggers something unresolved within you. However, you do need to clear it from your energy field and redirect your mind. Whether the emotion is yours or not, it can still affect your body if you let it trigger anger or distress. And of course, not all physical symptoms are energetic in nature. Consult a healthcare professional if issues persist. Here are some gentle methods to release excess energy. 1. Calm the senses. Treat yourself to a salt bath with essential oils while listening to soft, relaxing music. Salt is a powerful energy purifier and a wonderful way to end an emotionally intense day. 2. Distraction. If your mind gets stuck in destructive thoughts or you feel unjustly attacked, find a healthy distraction. Redirecting your attention pulls your energy away from the emotional trigger. 3. Acceptance. Acknowledge that the energy may not be yours. Don't fight it or try to analyze it. Simply let it pass. 4. Self-care. Eat nourishing foods, stay hydrated, exercise, reconnect with nature, and spend time outdoors. Walking outside is one of the best ways to recharge. Even lying on the grass under a starry sky is a powerful cleansing method. If you can't go outside, visualize nature during meditation. It can be just as effective. 5. Forgiveness. It may sound cliché, but holding on to negative emotions harms you more than anyone else. Whether the trigger was another person or absorbed collective energy, offering forgiveness, internally and silently, helps release the emotional charge. Ultimately, learning to navigate the shifting energy of those around you is part of the walk. It requires awareness, discernment, and a constant return to your own center. Not everything you feel is something you must carry, and not everything you witness is something you must fix. But taking care of your body and mind will help these transitions happen much more smoothly, which in turn can make you happier and healthier. Until next time, Diane Angel Message. Miracles in the everyday. Dear friends, we love you so very much. If you could see life through the eyes of your soul, you would live with such a sense of wonder and awe that even the smallest things would inspire you beyond words. A blade of grass, a drop of dew, the soft humming of your child while playing, or the splash of water from the faucet. All these things are so small they often go unnoticed, yet each is charged with something miraculous. That tiny blade of grass absorbs energy from your star, converts it into life force, and uses it to thrive and grow. It offers shelter to insects that feed your birds, who in turn help carry your seeds. It holds the soil together and provides a soft carpet for your feet. A humble blade of grass is a factory, a force, and a nourishment. A drop of dew, water held together by surface tension and gravity, reflects the world around it and nourishes nearby life. And what of a child's humming as they play? Their miraculous mind is engaged, and without thinking, they begin to hum, expressing joy as the air vibrates their vocal cords, the tiny biological strings used to transmit human thoughts and emotions. Think about the water flowing through your pipes. It comes from rivers, fed by streams, creeks, and rain, and travels through countless channels and systems, sometimes for thousands of miles and across millennia, just so you can wash your vegetables, clean your hands, or quench your thirst. There is so much to appreciate in every moment. And yet, what often captures our attention is not the miraculous, but the mundane. We have errands to run, emails to read, finances to manage, homes to care for, and so many other things to oversee. On top of that, you swim in a sea of human consciousness with countless people vying for your attention. Some requests are spoken in words. Many more are not. Some are implied. Others are simply felt as energy, a sigh from someone desiring compassion, a glare from someone hoping you'll understand their impatience, or the nudge you feel from a loved one silently asking you to call them back. These external influences can feel like they're draining your joy and energy. But ultimately, you are the one who decides how to experience life. You can align with your soul, or not. You can feel energized through the lens of love, or drained through the lens of lack. When you look through the eyes of your soul, you will always find something to love in every moment. Your soul holds the vision of a life where dreams come true. It guides you on the path of greatest joy. It instills thoughts and feelings that inspire and connects you with people for mutual delight. Even in the most mundane things, your soul calls you to witness the miraculous. In traffic, it nudges you to change the radio station just in time to hear your favorite song. As you rush to prepare dinner, the soul prompts you to stop, breathe deeply, and indulge your senses. When a news story upsets you, the soul tries to redirect you towards something gentler, a thought, an emotion. Even your dog's barking, for your dog is always in tune with its soul. When others try to distract your attention, your soul gently guides you toward what feels good for you. The soul always nudges you toward what is best for you, whether that means lovingly declining a request or lovingly fulfilling it. There are no rules, just feelings/intuitions in the moment that tell you what is right for you here and now. You can relax, dear ones. Release the pressure to be everything for everyone and to constantly prove your worth. You are already enough. You are already loved. You are already souls here to see, be, and share love. In tune with your spirit, that love can be felt and shared, even through simple acts of appreciation. Pause every now and then. Ask to see your life through the eyes of your soul. Ask to see your challenges through the lens of love. With this perspective, dear friends, no matter what else is happening, life will reveal its beauty. God bless you. We love you so very much. The angels understanding the ascension process, a deep inner understanding of the ascension process we are currently undergoing. The first phase is expected to be completed by 2032, although some souls are ahead of schedule. Many people eagerly await the moment when we will simply and immediately step into our new solar crystalline light body on New Earth, instantly shedding the old incarnation and everything that came before. What most people don't understand is that the purification process is already happening, step by step, as we manage to hold more light, open our heart center and higher heart, and achieve full union with our mighty I Am presence, our higher soul self, and even beyond, with the inner divine source, the inner kingdom of heaven. This is a process that is constantly monitored day and night by your spiritual guides, the ascended masters, and divine source. If all of this were to manifest instantly as some believe, and you still had so many physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual wounds within you, a part of you would resist the total change because of unresolved issues, because you would still be clinging to certain emotional charges, or resentments, or anger, fear, or whatever else. Old negative patterns that, for one reason or another, you haven't yet resolved deep within yourself, whether you're aware of them or not. In my contacts with the ancients from the Earth's core, And with the guardians and custodians of the planet's most sacred and hidden parts, I have often felt drawn by them to work on the energy grid or to tune into and download what I needed. These places are so protected and watched over that if a human being approaches and does not possess the same level of light body consciousness and vibrational frequency, they will simply find themselves walking away of their own accord. In most cases, it will seem like they're afraid to proceed, or they will be gently guided toward other, lower paths, or they will simply choose another route, or they will give up trying to reach them. These places are so ancient that even our most sophisticated radar and satellite systems cannot detect them, nor are we permitted to do so. I have always had the sense, as I tuned into these places, that I was being shown to stand at certain points where I could access what I needed, or I was enclosed in a certain energy bubble so that my bodies and energy fields wouldn't risk disintegrating and I would be safe. Even more so, the very presence within and around me would be pure, unconditional love, and that feeling of being wrapped in a net of pure safety and protection, partly through remote viewing, partly not. As we navigate our ascension paths, this will become the norm as multidimensionality opens up and we become more aware of the interconnectedness of all life and all life forms, of being able to be in more than one place at the same time, by location, and of the ability to tune into energy fields and download the information held within them. Everything that has ever been and is still recorded in the energy fields, and our souls all have the ability to tune into them and download them. And you do not need artificial intelligence to do this, because as your consciousness rises, you know with certainty that all the tools you need are within you, and they are far superior to any artificial machine, computer, or anything else could ever achieve, because a machine can only operate within the limits imposed by its inventor's mind or by what it has been programmed for. Here lies our greatest collective test as souls currently on Earth. That is why, the lighter your physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, and all 12 bodies become, the more aware you become, the less you depend on external forces or things, and the more you use and access what is already omnipresent within you, your soul, as one with your soul group and soul groups, monads, and your home systems or galaxies, the suns beyond suns, the central suns, and the cosmic suns. Everything holds information, knowledge, and so much more. Every life form carries divinity within it, and the more we become aware of this, the more we experience the sacredness and holiness of all creation and the fact that everything holds a divine spark. Because truly, we are all one. In the coming weeks and months, and in the few years remaining until 2032, we will undergo accelerated shape-shifting in immensely powerful ways. Here, the solar flares and the new Earth energies are now releasing, as are the solar, galactic, universal, and multi-universal ones. What is happening is that, systematically and with divine precision, we are becoming and transforming into the seventh root race of humanity, adapting to our new Adam-Cadmon body. Therefore, we are monitored day and night, and the Arcturians, Pleiadians, Andromedans, Sirians, Orion, Ursa Major, Lyra, Pegasus, Cygnus, our own Milky Way, and others are immensely involved in the entire process of building our new solar crystalline light bodies. The Arcturians are the master healers of the cosmos and belong to the 11th, 12th dimension, while some are even beyond any dimension for which we have a concept and do not possess a physical body. The cosmic portals to intergalactic and multi-universal interaction are wide open, and anything is possible, far beyond our extremely limited mental conception. And yet for our soul, this is our home territory. Everything is divinely orchestrated, and everything is always exactly in its place. Never too early and never too late. All is one. Hakann. Fear leads to the desire for control, dearest brothers and sisters. This is Hakann speaking. I greet you in peace and love. On your planet, many people are afraid, for reasons that are more than understandable. Now, reality is more complex. There are many factors at play. People are different, and they have free will. However, in people who do not embody the awareness that they are truly reincarnating souls, fear often leads to a desire for control. Even relatively subtle fears, such as the fear of death, the fear of being forgotten after death, or the fear of continuing to be unhappy, can lead to a desire for control. A glaring manifestation of this desire for control is seen in those who act like dictators, or those who exercise dark control, a term we use for the cabal/the criminals. A somewhat glaring manifestation of this desire for control is the overly controlling parent, partner, or boss, sometimes even abusive, or the power-hungry politician, or the person who imposes censorship on others or defames someone. A subtle expression of this desire for control is the average person who labels a statement as a conspiracy theory, therefore certainly false, even though they haven't verified it and have no real insight into it. They try to control reality and others' beliefs and perceptions simply by asserting that something is certainly false, without any valid reason. Why? Because the world feels less scary if others think like them. Similarly, there is the spiritual person who says, "This doesn't resonate with me, therefore it's false," or "This resonates with me, therefore it's true," if that resonance is based on emotions or bias and not on genuine intuition. Of course, "This resonates with me, so I believe it's true," is not an attempt at control and is perfectly acceptable. Or other expressions where a spiritual person asserts something as fact or factually false, based on their spiritual knowledge, if that spiritual knowledge actually only corresponds to what they emotionally wish to be true. That said, if the resonance is genuine intuition, then it is not a quest for control, but simply a statement of fact and a valid public service to share. So yes, it's a fine line. And yes, often people who are trying to control think they're doing something good. For example, they believe they're performing a public service by sharing their genuine intuition, when in reality they're only unconsciously trying to control others' perceptions by sharing their own emotions and presenting them as evidence of genuine intuition. There are many other forms of the control quest, such as, "I emotionally want this to be true, and since this source says the opposite, it's objectively true." That other source, equally reliable, saying the opposite, "I won't mention it, otherwise I'll defame it." This allows controlling others' beliefs and perceptions. Performative spirituality, putting on a show to control others' perception of your level of spiritual development. Misrepresenting someone's position, publicly claiming that someone else's position is X and it's wrong because of Y, when their position is not X at all. Or, "My group is particularly oppressed," if that is not actually true. This is a fear-based attempt to control others and make them treat you better, not through merit or valid arguments, but through guilt. You are harming this group/this ideal, so you must change, if the person isn't actually harming anyone, or is simply telling an uncomfortable truth. Or, "You're making me feel terrible, so you must change." Or an attitude like, "If something bad happens to someone else, it's a soul choice/karma/a good learning opportunity/fated for them to experience it. But if something bad happens to me, then it's an injustice that shouldn't have happened." Trying to control others' perception in an unfairly self-serving way. Or, if others are struggling, they shouldn't complain, but rather focus on themselves and move on. "But if I'm struggling, I want you to listen to how hard my situation is." Or, "That person is doing really well, so you should get a move on, but I wouldn't accept this argument if it were applied to me." Or, "I'm doing just as badly as that other group, when that other group is clearly doing worse." Or C, "You're clearly biased here, and I won't mention that I'm also biased. I'll pretend I'm the objective one." Or, "You're pushing an agenda. I'm simply interested in the truth, when in reality I'm pushing my own agenda just as hard." Or, "The reason for my belief is obviously that it's the truth, and that I'm well-informed/intuitive/moral. The reason you disagree is obviously a character flaw, bias, or lack of knowledge/intuition/morality on your part." Or, "If it seems logical to me or resonates with me, that's objective proof. If it seems illogical to you or doesn't resonate, that's not objective proof. You're probably just biased and need to provide concrete evidence." Or excessive focus on acquiring wealth, status, rational knowledge, etc., which gives the illusion of being in control. Unfortunately, very many people, including normal people who aren't power-hungry politicians, engage in control-seeking behaviors. Now, let's look at some expressions that do not require control. "I don't know." Or, "I don't know. Here's a valid argument for, and here's a valid argument against." Or I resonate with this, so I think it's true. Or I've done a lot of research. I'm fairly sure this is the case. Or this resonates within me. It's true, when it's actually genuine intuition, and the speaker is experienced enough to know the difference between it resonates because I like it emotionally, and it resonates because my intuition genuinely confirms it. Or I'm in pain. Or this hurts me. Or I'm afraid. Or I feel, without weaponizing it or implying others should change. Or I was wrong. Or I'm sorry. Or empowering/supporting others. Or others are worse off than me. Or, yes, I'm biased/privileged. Or, you're better at this than I am. Or telling the truth without ulterior motives linked to a desire for control. Or truly listening to someone else, without ulterior motives. It's important to note that people tend to greatly appreciate and feel less stressed when others express non-control-oriented opinions like these. Conversely, they tend to feel uncomfortable when others try to exert control. In this way, fear spreads. There was a time when this channel held connection workshops, where he proposed exercises that encourage strangers to sincerely listen to each other and open up in a safe environment after some initial exercises. Several relationships emerged from these workshops. Sometimes people met for the first time during the workshop and, shortly after it ended, started kissing. A genuinely control-free attitude is quite rare, and others really appreciate it. So, there have almost certainly been times in your life when you were afraid and wanted control, at least to some extent. I'm not saying you necessarily wanted to become a dictator. However, if you expressed your opinion and the other person rejected it, but you still want them to think or act differently, that is a desire for control, unless it's, I want that person to stop harming me/others. Directly harming someone is not acceptable. Some might argue, I don't want control. I just want that person to improve their life/act in a way that's better for society. If that person has already rejected your suggestion, then that is a desire for control. Overriding someone else's free will in the name of the greater good is certainly not for the highest good. It's perfectly fine to take personal initiatives to improve society, but if you can't emotionally accept, for example, that the opposing political party acts in a way you believe is wrong, then that is a problem you need to work on yourself. And of course, if you wish, you can vote, run for office, or engage in political debates. If you think you can't have a good life unless others change, well, to some extent that might be true, but you might also be underestimating your ability to create a good life for yourself if you consistently work on personal growth or inner healing. Moreover, you might be overly attached to your current incarnation, which is understandable, but ultimately you are a reincarnating soul. Your name does not refer to your true self. Notice the subtle control quest. It often sneaks in through the back door and typically pretends that you simply want to change things for the greater good, or that you just want to tell the truth, or that you're simply acting rationally, or that you just want to help your group, but you do so at the expense of other groups who need help just as much. It's particularly difficult to resist the desire for control if a significant group of other people sincerely wants you to exercise it because you're promoting something they like, agree with, or think might benefit them. Very many people give in to the temptation to take control if enough people want it. Leaders, once in power, almost always tend to become authoritarian, even if they initially had good intentions. It's truly hard to resist the ego's logic. That group of people wants me to have control to fix things, so I must have control for the greater good, and therefore I must maintain, protect, and grow my power, because after all, I'm one of the few honest ones. If I do bad things for power, it's an unpleasant necessity to keep a good person, namely me, in charge. In turn, leaders rarely make decisions that reduce their control, even if those decisions would obviously be positive for the people. Because, after all, a group of people loves them, so they must be great leaders, so they need to have control and be powerful to do good things, so they can't really empower the people, many of whom, after all, are bad. A person's rational mind is always ready to provide plausible justifications for the desire for control. This is the trap that the gray hats fell into. They started with good intentions. Then, seeking control really seemed like the right thing to do, to guide the world in the right direction. And now, they don't actually want to free Earth and empower people, because that would reduce their control. Because they are good and people are bad, right? So how could they, the good ones, give up control and empower the people, the bad ones? I understand this makes the gray hats sound like the black hats, but the gray hats aren't trying to kill most of the population and enslave the rest. That is a substantial difference. On the other hand, remember Cincinnatus, the Roman aristocrat who was given absolute power in Rome to deal with an emergency. He solved the problem, and 16 days later voluntarily resigned and returned to his farm. Similarly, Washington could have become a kind of king, but he refused. The reason the stories of Cincinnatus and Washington are so powerful, and why we still speak of these long-gone figures, is that they represent examples of people who voluntarily gave up control. And that is rare, as evidenced by how legendary and current these stories remain. In most other situations, people have to be forced to leave power through mechanisms like term limits. If staying in power means being seen by nearly everyone as a dictator, then the temptation to hold on is much smaller. Power only becomes truly alluring if a substantial group of people supports you in that choice. Gray hat officials and bureaucrats and black hats don't have term limits. There's no fixed time that forces them to leave their positions of control. Even Cincinnatus and Washington, paragons of relinquishing control, were actually quite attached to it. Cincinnatus was an aristocrat, living in a society where the law in practice heavily favored aristocrats. He opposed reforms that would have limited the arbitrary legal power of aristocrats, thus protecting his own unfair privilege. So, the archetypal figure who gave up power for the common good continued to protect the unfair power of his social class. Similarly, despite the principle that all men are created equal, Washington didn't do everything he could for women and slaves. People really like having control, especially when a substantial group of people supports it. In a less dramatic way, this is also a trap for modern spiritual people. If they take control simply by making a statement without sufficient research or intuition to back it up, and it's a statement that attracts a considerable group of people who applaud them, then that is a very ego-driven statement to make. Of course, the rational mind is always there to rationalize that we're just spreading the truth. That's why you see many people saying, "This is true," or "that is false," as if they were objective facts, often disguised in spiritual language, even though these people don't have the knowledge or intuition to know for sure. How can we deal with the desire for control? Doing your spiritual path allows you, over time, to stop identifying so strongly with your current incarnation, thereby reducing fear. Whatever happens, observe it. This allows you to develop genuine self-knowledge in the medium term. If you notice the part of you that wants control, observe it. Offer your help once and share your opinion once, then let others make their own choices. Even if people are clearly making mistakes, let them err. Don't try to control them. In situations where you haven't done research or don't have genuine intuition, you can have an opinion, but don't be too convinced of it and don't present it as fact. Engage in inner work, heal your wounds, and get your life in order. If you feel good about yourself and things are going well, you may not desire control. I hope this has been helpful. With all my love, your star brother, Hakann the Sirians. A lasting change. Today's transmission comes directly from us, the Sirians, who have kept our eyes open during the development of your world since the most ancient times. First of all, we would like to tell you that your race is on the verge of true and lasting change. Although there are individuals in power who oppose the shifts taking place in your collective consciousness, they cannot stop what is about to happen. The power of divine consciousness always triumphs over darkness. In the end, we simply wish to remind you that while direct interference in your development is currently prohibited by the IA, Interstellar Alliance, you are not alone. Each of you has the free will to choose to connect with us, and if you do so sincerely, we will respond accordingly. How do you connect with our energy? There are many ways to do this. We will list some below. Visit dolphins or whales, preferably in their natural environment. Cetaceans are Sirian beings living in your own waters and are directly connected to our collective. Meditate while listening to the sounds of dolphins/whales. Meditate on the starlight of Sirius. By allowing the light of Sirius A, B, and C to enter your pupils for about 10 minutes, you will receive light codes containing all kinds of rewards. Meditate on our frequency. Look at the symbol on the forehead of the being in the image associated with this post. Save the image and zoom in. The white circle, with the blue circle inside, then the black dot. This is a Sirian symbol. If you can memorize it, visualize it for 10 minutes in your third eye with your eyes closed, and you will be in tune with our collective. The constellation you call Canis Major is our home. In some of your ancient cultures, you also called Sirius the dog star, because the ancients associated the loyalty we hold for your spiritual development with the loyalty your world's dogs show you. We will always be by your side on this journey, and one day, in the not-too-distant future, we will make our presence known to you publicly once more.